At some point during the Lions Commanders game at Northwest Stadium, with Donald Trump in attendance, they gave him this framed 47 jersey with his name on it. And immediately I thought of the scene from Paradise where the assassinated president has a 47 jersey framed at his funeral. This is symbolic for potentially many different reasons. I just don't know which one it is because I don't know the script. Are they actually going to assassinate Donald Trump at some point? Was that pointing towards Charlie Kirk's assassination? Is it more metaphorical, relating to the assassination of the United States presidency, and through that assassination, the effective assassination of the country itself, right? The controlled demolition. His two terms are those two planes flying into those two towers. 9/11 personified. The Lion's Gate is northwest from the Golden Gate, and his role in all of this, as they have scripted the character, is the symbolic opening of the Golden Gate. This portal into another dimension that symbolically is the monolith, which can be viewed in a number of different ways as well, as a Stargate, as the screen, a scrying mirror, Black Mirror in that way. And of course, the Black Mirror television series is always dealing with dystopian outcomes, because that's what this ritual is, right? It is bringing a dystopian reality into being through our collective imagination. This is all interesting in relationship to the release of Tron Ares, because the president who is assassinated with 2 blows to the head in Paradise is played by James Marsden. And the actor James Marsden played JFK, another assassinated president, in The Butler. And of course, Donald Trump's attempted assassination in Butler, PA at 6:11 p.m. is tying into all of this as well, right? The potential assassination of the president that takes 2 shots, which are the symbolic 2 blows. And again, I don't know if that was the attempted assassination of Trump and then the actual assassination of Charlie Kirk. That was the 2 blows, the turning point. Or if it's pointing towards an eventual literal assassination of Donald Trump at some point in the future. But obviously, Mars ties into Tron Ares because Ares is the Greek god of war, violence, and bloodshed, and the Roman equivalent is Mars. So you have this association between Ares and Mars, and naturally, along those lines, the main character is played by Jared Leto, who is in the band 30 Seconds to Mars. Obviously not an accident that he was cast in this movie. I mean, that's the reason right there. But the whole thing is in the film Tron Ares, where you have the digital world and what we call the real world increasingly merging together. Characters from the real world go into the digital world, and then characters or entities from the digital world come into the quote-unquote real world. The lines are blurring, and they make this really obvious with the name of one of the main characters being Eve Kim. Okay, they're not making this complicated for you. Her name is Eve. And she's looking for what they call the Permanence code. And in reference to what is going on in actual reality, this is the idea of the solidification of this ritual that's taking place. The permanence of the eye merging with the screen. In the context of the film, it's allowing a digital entity to stay in the quote-unquote real world permanently. And at one point, Jeff Bridges' character, now, of course, that actor chosen very carefully as well, Bridges, right? The Golden Gate Bridge. Jeff Bridges' character, who starts the whole thing in the first place, is talking to this digital program at one point and says, yes, I suppose I should have called it the impermanence code, because he's effectively making this immortal digital program mortal by bringing it into the real world where it can decay at some point. But in terms of the larger propaganda that these films support, it's the permanence code that they're looking for. And the first thing that Eve makes permanent with this code is a fruit tree. It's an orange. And she picks the orange off of this tree that they create in the real world. They bring from digital reality into the real world. She picks this fruit, and it is in existence for longer than 29 minutes, which is the time that it usually expires. The first thing that Eve makes permanent is this fruit. So very clearly they're showing you it's Eve taking a bite from the tree of knowledge. And that's what this is, right? The internet is the tree of knowledge. That's why they put that apple with the bite on it, on all of those Apple products. You're taking the bite. You're merging with this technology. You're entering into a new dimension. It's the monolith, the screen, the portal. Eve takes the fruit. It's a symbolic bite, and it is permanent. You see? And at one point in the film, there's this warehouse where they are bringing things from the digital world into reality. And I believe this is the first time they do it. There's this very obvious scene where the digital character is leaving the warehouse through the monolith. I mean, hopefully you can see how this is the monolith right here, right? It's the screen. It's this evolutionary leap. It's the permanence code, where your eyes are permanently fused with technology. And it's hard not to take that literally in a transhuman type of way when I say it, but it's so much more nuanced than that. This is taking place in your mind, in your stream of consciousness. Okay? Your awareness is fusing with the Wi-Fi field, if that makes sense. You are fusing with something etheric in that way. That's why it was called the Ethernet, okay? It's catching the ether. It's catching the etheric energy in the web. And the program Ares goes through the portal, which is relating back to what it is symbolically in ancient Greece and Rome, right? Mars associated with war and bloodshed and violence in this way, because that's how this is being achieved. That's what the 9/11 ritual was, right? It was this symbolic blood sacrifice that traumatized the world and pushed it in this direction. It was a blood sacrifice for this fusion to take place. Project Stargate, COVID-19, the coronavirus, the Great American Eclipse. You have the monolith as they depict it in Tron Ares, and then this is the cover of the New York Times after September 11th, 2001. So this is September 12th, where they have the actual monolith hotel in the shot as one of the planes hits one of the towers. And if you zoom out, it's an actual monolith on the cover of the New York Times the day after, because it's a portal, you see, and that represents the transition, the evolutionary leap. We're going from this printed medium into this digital reality as a part of this ritual. And in that way, it is quite literally the Overlook Hotel, where your consciousness is trapped inside of it. And in The Shining, which takes place in this Overlook Hotel, you have the Grady twins, who are murdered by the previous caretaker before Jack Nicholson's character takes over. And subconsciously, it's giving you this imagery of those twin towers with those crystal clear blue skies on September 11, 2001. These two twins are killed in the Overlook Hotel, you see? And your consciousness is then trapped within that hotel like it's depicted in those films, The Shining and Dr. Sleep. your mind, your awareness gets trapped within this net. In the same way that it happens to Jack Nicholson's character. You were always the caretaker in terms of this ritual, right? You just don't understand the way they're constructing everything on layers of meaning that are so deep and hidden that you just don't see it until it's made obvious. And then you look at it like, oh yeah, that was always there. How did I not see that? It's the same idea that they show you at the end of the Truman Show, where the monolith is a doorway. It's how Truman escapes the quote-unquote fake world. And he goes on the Odyssey to get there, right? He has to go on this journey by ship and eventually reaches the portal, which is kind of similar to how they depicted in 2001: A Space Odyssey, and then the Star Child is born, right? Metaphorically, he becomes something new and overcomes what he was trapped in. But you don't understand that in any way bigger than the plot when you're just watching the movie unaware of all this stuff. What they're really showing you is your own mind going through the monolith screen portal into a new dimension. And part of the subconscious sorcery is that these movies are feel-good stories. They make you feel really great about it at the end, right? And you give your energy to it in this way, powering the illusion that they are creating in the collective mind through our imagination. Our attention is the most powerful thing in all of existence. It's a currency that is priceless, which explains why things like 9/11 in the first place were constructed like they were constructed. It produced a huge amount of emotion and energy and attention and currency, and that currency was harnessed to power the ritual as it progressed, to steer collective awareness in a certain direction. That for whatever reason, I don't know why, I have theories, but I don't know why it's being steered like this, ultimately. Your guess is as good as mine on that front. But for whatever reason, it's being steered into this portal, this Stargate, at warp speed, right? It's happening faster and faster and faster, merging with the Ethernet, the Aether merging with the ether. The neuroplastic brain rewiring itself, reorienting itself. Consciousness, a product of the receiver that is the brain, right? It receives the signal, and it is reorienting itself to this new digital reality. As a part of that, sure, maybe they'll put chips in people, and they already have the glasses now where screens are popping up in the field of vision, and that's potentially leading to implants that would be directly in the eye, connected to the Wi-Fi in that way, right? Sure, it might be headed in that direction, but what I want to stress is we're already there. It's already happening to you every day that you're exposed to this stuff more and more. Every day that it's more and more integrated into our lives in a fundamental way. It's the tree of knowledge and the permanence code. They show you it in Tron Ares if you know what you're looking for. Along those lines, Tron, Ares, Mars, blood sacrifice, war, etc. The twins killed in The Shining are named Alexei and Alexa Grady. What do millions and millions and millions of people say into their devices every day? Hey, Alexa. It's the name of Amazon's assistant program. And the corollary to that is, hey, Siri, which is obviously pointing towards Sirius, which is kind of the symbolic spiritual angle to all of this. But just focusing on, hey, Alexa, it's this idea of summoning a ghost in the machine, right? You're summoning this consciousness that's trapped within the screen that you are fusing with. And via the process of this ritual and how it all works subconsciously, saying the name Alexa over and over again is possibly recreating the magic that was Stanley Kubrick's films, right? These ritual magic entities that the films are. They almost have a life of their own in that way. The two twins are killed. Their souls are trapped within the Overlook Hotel. You see how metaphorically that is our awareness trapped within the screen through the 9/11 ritual, through watching it on the television screen, seeing those two towers fall and all of the blood that was spilled and how it altered our attention and emotions and created that currency. This is another aspect of that as it relates to the fusion with the digital world. Hey, Alexa. Repeating that phrase over and over and over again, summoning this entity, this algorithm, this program, which bleeds into artificial intelligence and the whole idea of that, which of course was the last Kubrick film that Spielberg finished for him after he died. Allegedly, of course. It's the permanence code, right? The digital world merging with your consciousness. And the other way around, as they depict it in Tron Ares. Ares and Mars, the spilling of blood, violence, as it relates to everything that's going on in the world that is pushing us in this direction. So much blood being spilled. And Elon Musk is obsessed with Mars. And going there, they've really linked Musk and Mars together. He buys Twitter, renames it X for the Great American Eclipse, and his role in all of that. And of course, he's associated with Tesla, robotics, and artificial intelligence. He is an instrument of war, you see? Or at least how they have scripted his character, right? That person is a talisman, kind of. It's not even really him. It's what they have layered on top of the character and what they attribute to it. The character Elon Musk, speaking of these ancient Greek and Roman quote-unquote gods, I mean, he kind of is one of those entities in a modern form. It's mythology. But anyways, I think that's enough for this one. I'll leave it there. Talk to you guys later. Peace.